Hey there, what is going on? It is Rob from Crypto Bobby, and today we have more China news. What is new in the world of cryptocurrency over the past week or so? Well, every single day it's a rumor about China or it's news about China, and today is no different. We have China apparently said to ban Bitcoin exchanges, with this coming out in Bloomberg, this coming out in the Wall Street Journal, and then this being disputed by the actual Chinese exchanges, but still sending the price of Bitcoin down about $200 or so within the course of a few hours. So some big news out of China, or big potential news, still kind of remains to be seen, whether it's FUD or if this is real. So let's talk about that today. And then outside of that, I want to talk about a conference call that went on fairly recently with a number of prominent people within the cryptocurrency community discussing how to properly value cryptocurrency. And this is posted over on hackernoon.com, and there is a YouTube video which I will link. I'll put a link up here, wherever it is. I'll put a link here, and I'll put it in the description of this video as well, so you can definitely take a look at this video that discusses how to properly value cryptocurrency. This conference call, it's about an hour long, but I would highly recommend you take a look at it. But we'll discuss it in more detail coming up. If you are new to this channel, certainly appreciate you taking a look at this video. Again, my name is Rob from Crypto Bobby. Hit the subscribe button for daily recorded videos on cryptocurrency. But let's get into it. So I woke up this morning. I'm based on the East Coast of the US. Woke up this morning, checked into Blockfolio, saw the entire portfolio was, saw a good amount of the portfolio was down quite a bit. And when I saw that, popped open Twitter, and then you see all types of news on Twitter in regards to Whale Panda making kind of a joke about trying to figure out how to trade Chinese Bitcoin news, and it's just going all over the damn place. And that's pretty true right now. I mean, it's really difficult to figure out what's happening, what's not happening in the world of cryptocurrency from a Chinese regulation perspective. Some things are sources, some things are being told as complete fact. It's really hard to put two and two together right now. But Bloomberg came out with this definitive article. Wall Street Journal came out with this definitive article basically saying it's not a rumor anymore. China is going to shut down Bitcoin exchanges. And then apparently some other people have come out and disputed that, said it's not true. And that it's basically a mess. But at this point in time, I mean, you can see here, so it looks like around the time a lot of this information came out, that sent the price of Bitcoin shooting down from about 4,350 or so down to the below 4,200. So not incredibly massive movement, but still large enough. I mean, if we're talking about where it is right now, Bitcoin being down about 4%. And then a number of other cryptocurrencies in the marketplace also following Bitcoin. So what does this mean? What does this mean for you from an investment perspective? What does this mean long term? Well, I don't believe the news is fully confirmed yet. So number one, I don't believe the news is fully confirmed, although this does give me a little bit of an uneasy feeling personally. Since Friday, there have been rumors about this. This has been unnamed sources, or sources from multiple outlets have been saying that a ban is coming, a shutdown is coming. They are going to be pulling things. Basically, China is basically going to be pulling the rug out from Bitcoin cryptocurrency exchanges. Some people have said this is only in regards to recently ICO'd cryptocurrencies. Some people have said this is in regard to all virtual currencies on domestic exchanges. So from what I'm thinking right now, and this is just my own thoughts, I would say, I mean, for me, what I'm thinking is, as much as I don't want this news to be true, as much as I don't want these rumors to be true, I don't feel like they're just going to materialize out of thin air, and they're going to materialize out of nowhere. So even if they're not confirmed or fully confirmed yet, I feel like, and this could still be FUD. So it could still be FUD, but at the same point in time, I feel like if Bloomberg is putting their name on it, if Wall Street Journal is putting their name on it now, there has to be some level of kind of legitimacy to these rumors, where the shoe is gonna drop sooner rather than later. And if it hasn't yet, I feel like it's going to. And with that being said, if and when the shoe does drop, and you can kind of see here what this founding partner of FBG Capital, the volume would definitely shrink. If China comes out and bans cryptocurrency exchanges, then the volume is going to shrink. There's obviously a lot of volume coming out of China. This wouldn't be the first thing that China bans. Like, don't get me wrong, this would absolutely not be the first thing that China bans. Google is not allowed, Facebook is not allowed. There's a lot that China bans, and we've spoken about that kind of ad nauseum previously. But this will make, I think this will, at least in the short term, limit some of Bitcoin's and cryptocurrency's growth and be a pretty big setback from a market cap perspective, I think. I'm sure some of this is already priced into the news overall, but when this news does come out, I wouldn't doubt that a lot of that there is somewhat of a pullback in terms of the number, in terms of the market cap, the price of Bitcoin, the price of Ethereum, and a lot of other things on the market cap. So that's something that I'm thinking. As far as playing this right now and as far as trading it, I mean, obviously it's already on a dip at this point in time from the highs. But let's pull back to maybe 4-hour charts here. I mean, obviously this is on a dip from that push up of the highs, about $5,000, and we've been on somewhat of a slow descent here down to close to getting close to $4,100 and kind of settling around there. It doesn't really look like there's that much, quite frankly. It doesn't really look like there's that much momentum taking it back upwards, especially with this continued news out of China. So what I'm looking at now is, I'm not necessarily looking at selling. I am, at this point in time, just kind of considering a long-term hold and looking at additional entry positions. But if you are somebody who is afraid of losing money, if you have part of this investment where you really can't lose it, I would not doubt seeing a larger correction. I mean, especially if this China news gets confirmed, I think a larger correction is going to come into the mix. So that'll be interesting it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out. But for right now, kind of where my head's at and what I'm thinking about, I think there's too much noise, there's too much fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there about what is happening with China, that I feel like the rumors are probably going to come to fruition, if it's not today, in the next couple of days. And I've talked about the ICO rumors as well, the kind of deal with Neo and a lot of other things. But when the ICO rumors came out, it was rumored that China was banning ICOs, and people freaked out. People sold off some of their crypto, and then everybody's like, it's just FUD, it's just rumors, and then like 3 or 4 days later, China actually banned ICOs. So on Friday, people were saying there were rumors that were going around saying, Bitcoin exchanges are going to be banned in China, cryptocurrency exchanges are going to be banned in China, and they're not allowed to have exchanges in China anymore. There was a sell-off similar to the ICO rumors. There was a sell-off, and then people are like, you know what, it's just rumors. And now today, apparently, people are starting to confirm that or are saying that it might happen. So that's something in my mind that seems eerily familiar to what happened with the ICOs, and maybe it's just a coincidence, maybe it's not, but it gives me an uneasy feeling about looking forward here. So I'm trying to take that into consideration as much as possible and kind of figure out a game plan for me, but just try to stay educated as much as possible on this. And yeah, worst case scenario, it's buying opportunity. Worst case scenario, I guess, is buying opportunities much lower, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But certainly something to keep an eye on there as well. Now, outside of China, because quite frankly, not that I'm getting tired of talking about China, but I'm freaking getting tired of talking about China and these damn rumors, but it is what it is. I think everybody loves talking about it. So outside of that, there was a conference call that I thought was really interesting. This happened a couple days ago on September 7th, and this is on, I'll post a link to this. I talked a little bit about it previously in one of my YouTube lives, but there was a conference call in regards to how to value cryptocurrency. And there were multiple people on the conference call, and a couple different things that I thought were very interesting. And one thing in particular, and this is Ryan Selkis, who had some really great points within this. But Ryan Selkis on Twitter, I believe it's 2-Bit Idiot on Twitter, he breaks down the cryptocurrency marketplace into 3 distinct areas, and I'll pull this up in a little bit higher detail here. So he breaks down the cryptocurrency asset into 3 distinct kind of types of crypto. Cryptocurrencies, which are like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, Monero, basically primarily stores of value, or primarily payment ways to conduct payments, digital payments, or a long-term store of value. So something like Bitcoin, which is a long-term store of value as well as a payment tool, or something like Monero, that is kind of Bitcoin with added privacy elements and things of that nature. And then you have utility tokens and crypto securities. Now, for the most part, crypto securities are not as much what I focus on with this channel, and not as much what I think a lot of people are familiar with. Utility tokens are what I want to focus on here today, and something I think that you want to be familiar with going into the future. So utility tokens are not necessarily like the cryptocurrencies where a utility token isn't necessarily like a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or a Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash, more along the lines of these recently ICO'd cryptocurrencies like Civic or Golem or Filecoin or Siacoin, which they basically have an application, or essentially have an application like a Civic or like a Siacoin or a Filecoin, where to use the given decentralized application, you get some type of utility benefit to owning that token or owning that currency when you utilize that application. Now, at this point in time, the majority of these utility tokens are utilized more as speculative investments utilized a lot more in terms of speculative investments on like the long-term value of what the actual kind of application will be and how that will work in the long term. And in a lot of cases, and a lot of the confusion around regulation right now is that some of these utility tokens are almost like basically kind of securities, in the sense of they might fit under SEC regulation. Some of them have specific utility utilizing that with an application. Some utility tokens are much more basically like a fake stock, or kind of a stock hidden as, or an investment vehicle hidden as a cryptocurrency. So when I'm looking at utility tokens in the long run, and I'll see if I can pull up here. So when I'm looking at utility tokens in the long run, you can see that and what Ryan spoke about, and I think it really resonated well with me, and I wanted to kind of get the point across to to folks. I'd highly recommend watching the video, but wanted to get a couple different points across. So the value of these utility tokens really depends upon a number of different things, as far as the purpose of it, how long it needs to be held to utilize the distributed application, as well as the velocity of it. But outside of that too, with these utility tokens, there are a couple different things that I think you want to be aware of. So number one, from a regulatory perspective, utility tokens are the most exposed to regulatory issues. So something like a Civic, or granted, Civic actually fits really well within, and I'm a long-term holder of Civic, so full disclosure there, but Civic fits well within, I think, the regulatory issues, and looks to maintain a strong foothold there. But other things like maybe Siacoin or Status or Economy, or a lot of these utility tokens that are not specific cryptocurrencies, they're the most exposed to regulatory issues or regulatory problems. And Ryan kind of mentions 3 different ways that these utility tokens can potentially be regulated in the future. Number one is a laissez-faire approach of just kind of cracking down on bad projects. The second one would be to choke liquidity, which is, I think, a pretty realistic possibility in the near future, of having cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever, on the regulated exchanges like CoinBase and GDAX, at least in the United States. Those would be fine, but exchanges like Bittrex or Poloniex that might be headquartered in the United States but have these 50, 100 different utility tokens or altcoins on these exchanges, they would be pressured by the regulators to delist these tokens. They would halt trading on that. That is definitely a possibility, in my opinion, something that scares me a little bit, keeps me up a little bit at night. And the last thing is just kind of pulling the old China approach of what Ryan calls fire and brimstone. Is just saying ICOs are illegal. You have to return your funds, face prosecution, you're going to be in trouble, bad news. That's kind of what China's done. So those three different regulatory approaches are, right now the U.S. is somewhat in like a laissez-faire type approach. I think they're still trying to figure things out, but I do quite frankly I don't think they're going to go fire and brimstone, but I think choking liquidity is something that you want to be aware of that can definitely be possible within the U.S. And going to that point, and this is something that I want to kind of circle everything back around to, is essentially with these utility tokens, with these altcoins, there's going to be a specific point in time where companies from a valuation perspective are, and I think it's already happening in a lot of respects, but where the valuation of these utility tokens starts to have a severe correction, in the sense of people are going to realize there really isn't much utility to holding these utility tokens outside of a speculative investment. And I think it's almost clear that in the most part, for many of these cryptocurrencies or many of these altcoins right now, the only reason people do hold them is as a speculative investment. Like for the most part, if you buy, let's use Status as an example. I have a little bit of Status, but for the most part, I'm holding Status for its long-term potential. I don't even have the Status application on my phone. I don't think it's available on the iPhone yet, so I can't even use the Status application. It has really no utility to me outside of being a speculative investment. And I think that people are starting to realize that for the most part, if something doesn't have a specific utility, then the returns or the valuation necessarily isn't justified. And I think that there is going to be a point in time, whether it's in the next month or 6 months or a year, where you're going to be better off having your money in these larger cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, like Litecoin, like Monero, maybe like Neo, maybe like just some of these more cryptocurrency related projects, and not these utility token kind of altcoin type projects where it's a project or a decentralized application that is offering up an opportunity to have their cryptocurrency and then gain some type of benefit from their application, but the application isn't anywhere near complete. The roadmap is 2018, 2019, whatever. That's not to say that in the near term that you can't make a ton of money on ICOs. That's not to say in the near term you can't make a lot of money trading those altcoins or buying and holding some of those altcoins, some of those utility tokens. But I do think there is going to be a point in time where the market kind of looks at itself and says, like, the smart money in the space is going to say, like, why would we be holding Coin when the project isn't where we need it to be, and the utility of owning this token isn't that impressive and the value is not there. So that's something that I think you want to take in mind, because there's going to be a point in time where the smart money is going to leave that space, and if they're not doing it already, and kind of hand that off to newbies in the space who are going to hold those bags for a long time. So I think that you want to be aware of, when you are investing in these utility tokens, I think there is a limited runway, and there's only going to be so much time, quite frankly, where people are going to put up with the fact that these utility tokens don't really have much utility behind them, especially when there's not an application when they're running an alpha application or running a beta application, whatever it might be. And to that point too, I mean, you can even look as well at some of, and this was part of the video, but you can see the due diligence that some of the people in this space are doing on a type of investment. So this is due diligence that somebody showed their spreadsheet on how they valued Filecoin. Now, Filecoin had a lot of institutional money. It was basically done with accredited investors, but I would doubt the majority of people, and myself included, I'm not doing this much due diligence from running the numbers and kind of putting together adoption curves and the Filecoin issuance via mining or via vested issuances. So this is the type of thing that smart money out there is running due diligence on how to invest and how to hold something long term. And I think that people are going to start, if they're not already doing it, a lot of them are, running these types of numbers on some of these existing cryptocurrencies, some of these existing utility tokens, altcoins that don't have much utility behind them, realizing they don't have much utility behind them, and either avoiding them or selling off their positions because the potential isn't as great as their $250 million, $300 million market cap out there. So that's something I think you want to keep in mind, is just I believe that there is going to be, like I said, I think you're going to be able to make money in the near term on these utility tokens. I think you're going to be able to make money on these ICOs. I think you're going to be able to make great money on a lot of ICOs, but at the same point in time, there's going to be something that happens in the marketplace where a lot of the money, I believe, is going to flow back into Bitcoin, or it's obviously already there, but a lot of that altcoin money is going to flow back into Bitcoin or flow back into Ethereum or flow back into Litecoin or Monero or whatever it might be, just because they're, in a lot of cases, going to be a more stable store of value and still represent a growth opportunity. So that's something I'm keeping an eye on as far as properly evaluating these cryptocurrencies. But again, I would highly recommend taking a look at it. It was super, super informative and very helpful, about an hour long, 4 different presenters. They were all great, so I really liked it, and I think the takeaways that they had were, super informative. But outside of that, guys, if you do have questions on the space, or if you have any thoughts as far as what's going on with China, or alternatively, how to value these utility tokens, how to value altcoins, definitely sound off in the comments. I would really like to hear from you as far as what you're thinking about, where you think the market might be headed. So please do let me know on that side of the house, and happy to kind of run through and respond to as many of those comments as I possibly can. And again, if you are new to the channel, hit me up with a subscribe. That'd be fantastic. I would really, really do appreciate that. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a fantastic day, night, wherever you're watching this from, and good luck, whether you're buying, if you're trading, if you're holding, if you're selling. Best of luck in the marketplace for you, and hope you have a good one. Rob from Crypto Bobby, signing out. Peace.